Manchester United 0, Manchester City 3, or should I say Manchester City 3, Manchester United 0. Man United have lost the second game in the Premier League season, second game of 4 games, so 1 win, 2 losses and 1 draw in the Premier League, and we lost to Manchester City. We have been demolished, we have been exposed a lot of times, and the question now lies, where do we go from here? You know, I would usually go and watch the game again. I would usually go and kind of like watch and look for things that I saw that I missed during watching it live and stuff. But this time around, I just have to give my honest reaction and stuff. And I might not come out and be very irrational or just come out and start, you know, blaming everybody and bombarding the manager, the team and stuff. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm calling into question the starting lineup and everything. Oh, this person is at fault, that person is at fault. Nothing just worked. And how do teams win? Teams win when other teams make mistakes. Nothing just worked in this one. And the truth is, it's the fault of, you know, everyone at the club, everyone, manager, players and everything. It's not like one person and everything. Like, I would not... You know, some players had stinkers today, others had, you know, good games, others were trying to stand up for themselves. The ones that looked like, oh, everybody was going to blame were the ones standing up and putting in hard tackles and stuff like that, and fighting and grafting. But the rest, well, they just have to step up. It's not like there was any issue whatsoever, or it's not like they were doing anything out of the ordinary. No, they just have to step up. When we need them, they have to step up. And in this game, most of them didn't. So we have to just, you know, talk about it. We have to just kind of analyze and stuff. If we look at the stats don't tell the true story of the game. The stats don't tell the true story of the game at all. So many players were missing in the game. So, as I said, the stats don't tell the true story. I could fault the lineup at some point as well, because the lineup didn't give much for expression when it comes to certain players in the team and all of that. What I expected in the lineup was, you know, a bit of grit in the midfield, especially from the defensive aspect, and, you know, a bit of you know, attacking prowess in up front, but it wasn't working, and many things didn't work today. Manchester City played with a back four of Kusanov as right back, Ruben Diaz, Vadiol at centre backs, who didn't really have good games today, and then O'Reilly left back, flat back four of 4 centre backs, and then they had Rodri in the mid. And then they played with a 4-1-4-1, and they had Silva, Reinders, Foden, and Doku, and then they had Haaland up top. And then obviously, Manchester United started with Alterbinder in net, who for me I felt probably didn't have so much of a bad game, just circumstances and stuff. And then we have Luke Shaw, Matthijs de Ligt, and Lenny Yoro. And then in defense, in the 3-4-3, in the 4 in the middle, we had Dorgu, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, and Mazraoui. And then the 2 attacking 10s, Ahmad and Bryan Mbeumo, and then eventually Benjamin Sesko, who was an Ireland in that situation. And the subs that came in, Maguire, Kobe Menu also had a good game as well, Casemiro and Joshua Zirkzee. But let's talk about, you know, just basically work on the facts and the stats right now. So Man United started really well, and City, you know, took over, and then City scored. If you're looking at the top stats for ball possession, basically according to FOTMob, we have 45% for City, 55% for Man United, and expected goals 2.52 for City, 1.51 for United. Total shots 13 each. Big chances 4 for City, 2 for Man United. And then with regards to just basically overall general stats, shots on target for City 6, 2 for Man United, 4 big chances, 2 for Man United, two big chances missed each side. Then accurate passes, we had the more accurate passes, 84% with 412 accurate passes to 342 accurate passes. It could be, skewed. It could be a skewed data, because depending on where the accurate passes are happening, we're looking at fouls committed. Both teams committed fouls. 4 corners to Man United, which we didn't capitalize on, to 2 for City. And then for XG, if you're into the XG stats and stuff, we had unexpected goals of 1.51 to Manchester City's 2.52, and then XG open play 2.52 for City, 1.02 for Man United. XG set play 0 for City, 0.49 for Man United. XG non-penalty 2.52 for City and 1.51 for Man United. And then XG on target, we had 2.40 to City and 0.14 for on target. So we basically didn't just convert. We had our shots, total shots of 13, and then 2 on target. So we needed to make a good total passes for for the game: 414 for City, 489 for Man United. And then I've talked about the accurate passes in our own half. For City, they had 193 passes in their own half. Man United had 180. For passes in the opposition half, Man United had 232. Man City had 149. So if you look at the game, City came to do a job. And what was the job? Finish off United. Whenever they got mistakes, they pounced. While United came to play and eventually didn't finish off our chances. Accurate long balls, we had the most, 37. Man City had 21. Accurate crosses, we had 26%. Man City had 1. And then throws, basically 21 to 26 for Man City. Touches in the opposition box, Man United had 29. Manchester City had 26. And they had 2 offsides, we had 3. And all of that. So no cards at all for both teams. So, and then for when it comes to defense, tackles, we had 22. Man City had 12. Interceptions, the both teams had 9. Blocks, Man City had 2. Man United had 0. Chances, clearances, Man United had 33. Man City had 33, Man United had 9, and then keeper saves, Man United had 3, Man City had 2, and that was those 2 chances that Donnarumma saved, and those chances I think they happened in the second half. Then for duels, Man United had won the most duels, 46 to 43 for City. Ground duels won, Man United had won the most, 35 to City's 26. Aerial duels won, Man City won the most, 17 to Man United's 11. And successful dribbles, Man United were least 5 to Man City's 7. So the stats tell the true story of the game, but also what you saw on the pitch doesn't really fully converse what we can actually translate from this stats. If one will look at these stats and say Man United actually played well and City just won. But the truth is, if you look at what happened in the first half, City had more control. After they scored the goal, they still continue to have that control and all of that. And then Man United wrestled control back for the most of second half. So if we're going to go by what's happened in the second half, Man United had 70% ball possession to Man City's 30 in second half alone. And then we had a total shots of 11. So it means we stepped up, but we didn't finish our chances. We had more accurate passes. We had more total shots, more shots on shots off target, and 1 shot on target, right? And then for the first half, obviously City had the most control, 60 to 40, and all of that. After they scored that goal, they had the most passes and all that. So it's kind of like a game of 2 halves, but we needed to finish our chances. Look at when the goals came, 18 minutes, and when we were trying to get our foot in the game, Haaland scores 53 minutes, and then that goal, obviously everybody was at fault, because obviously look at it, everybody was moved out of position. The moment you move De Ligt out of position and move Leniora out of position and have to bring Shaw from the other side to defend, then there's a problem, right? So it boils down to a whole lot of things, a barrage of errors, a plethora of errors that led to us losing that game. So then we're going to go to basically player ratings for Man United, and then I'll just give you a summary of the whole game, and then we can move on to other things. Player ratings in net, we start in net with Alaba in there. He gets a 6.0 from me. The goals were maybe we'll say 50-50 basically, not to put a blame on him because he didn't have a bad game, but he conceded 3 goals. So obviously, you're gonna call it a bad game. He had 2 saves to make. Actually 3 saves, and then he conceded 3 goals. Obviously, amongst other things, I mean, like, his passing from the back was not that bad per se. His passing out from the back wasn't that bad, but obviously the back 4, that is Shaw, De Ligt, Euro, and Atabinder, probably just had a bad day and had nothing to show for it when it came to the game. So Luke Shaw gets a 6.0 as well. And then obviously he was involved in one of the errors that led to the goal. Played the whole 90 minutes, 51 of 56 passes, 98%. Passes into final third, he had 10, 63 touches in total, and all of that. And then ground duels won 50%, 1 of 2. Aerial duels won 50%, 1 of 2, and all of that. Then if we're going to go to De Ligt, he had a 6.0 performance as well. Not a good day. 37 of 43 passes, 86%, 57 touches total, 2 of 3 long balls, which is 67%, amongst other things. And 5 of 5 duels won, but could have done more. Just was moved out of position, and then that was what really caused it. The moment he pressed that Haaland still got a chance, and he was battling with Shaw. Obviously, he's stronger than Shaw. Leniero, same thing. For the 19-year-old, Leniero was the most accurate passer in the game, 96% passing. Especially for any player who plays 45 minutes or more. And then if we look at, he played 62 minutes, 26 of 27 passes. He had 34 touches as well. So, and he went into 3 duels and lost all 3. Went into 1 aerial duel and lost it. So, yeah, poor game today. Leniero gets a, what will I say, 5.5 from me? 5.5. Then we have Nusra Mazraoui, just coming back, first game and all of that. He gets a 6.5% for me. 6.5 rating from me. 26 of 30%, 30 passes, which is 7%, amongst other things. Successful dribbles, 1 of 100%. Accurate long balls, 2 of 200%. Still getting into his stride. 5 of 8 ground duels won, 1 of 2 aerial duels won. So still trying to find his fate and all of that. But he gets a 6.5, maybe closer to 7. Now you could imagine. Bruno Fernandes, 7.0, a little over 7. And then obviously he was completed the most passes. He had 60 passes in the match. He played the full 90 minutes. Obviously created 2 chances, another to add to his 12 already in the league, takes him to 14. He 5 defensive contributions and 86 touches in the game, basically 14 passes in the final third, 1 of 6 accurate crosses, poor crosses into the box, accurate long balls, 8 of 10, which is 80%. Ground duels won 3 of 4, air duels won 1 of 1. So could have done better, but eventually we will just say that Bruno had a good game, but could have been better. And then we have Manuel Ugarte as well, had a good game, 7.0, almost 7.5, just a little over 7. 41 of 46 passes, 89%. I think he's getting into his stride, and this is the kind of game for him. He had 12 defensive contributions. He had 59 touches in the game, 3 of 3 accurate long balls. I mean, you can imagine that. Tackles, he had 3. Ground duels won 4 of 7. Aerial duels won 1 of 1. So basically, Managati 7.0. Patrick Dorgu 7.5. Basically, Patrick Dorgu won the most duels, won 11 in the match, played the full 90 minutes, created 3 chances as well, and then basically 59 touches in the game, amongst other things. Tackles, he had 4, ground duels won 9 of 13, air duels won 2 of 4. Kusanov just had his number on that day, and that's the problem, right? And then we have Ahmad, who had a poor game again, 6.5, 1 shot blocked. He had 6 defensive contributions, and the moment he was moved to wing back, he had a better game. Could have done more, 3 touches in the position box and all of that. And then we have 2 tackles from Ahmad, 2 of 5 ground duels won, and in his air duels, obviously height 0%. Then Bryan Mbeumo also didn't have a very good first half, but was the one that had the most shots. And then basically he had a total of 4 shots. I think he had like 2 on target. He had 2 defensive contributions. He missed one big chance, just one big chance, and it's not his fault because the keeper was good. That's what it is, right? So Patrick Dorgu gets a 6.5. I mean, what's his name? Bryan Mbeumo gets a 6.5. 64 touches total. 9 touches in the position box, 33% successful dribbles, which means that he didn't do really well. Passes into the final third, 3. Obviously, 1 of 5 accurate crosses, poor crossing today. Accurate long balls, 1 of 100%. Yeah. Ground doors 1 of 6, 17. Air doors 1 of 4. So, Mbeumo could have done better. But he gets a 6.5. And then just as Benjamin Sesko, he has 6.0. 80 minutes played, first start in his Premier League, 22-year-old. The pressure is on him as well. I don't know why we're not thinking in the way we deal with the transfers, because I felt like we need competition. When I looked at the bench, the only 2 attacking additions that we could have had would have probably been Joshua Zirkzee and Casemiro. But just is the only attacking contribution. Though if we had someone like Rasmus, who scored in the weekend, by the way, against Fiorentina, an old player in David De Gea, I mean, maybe he brings a different dynamic to the game, or maybe he puts just Benjamin Sesko under pressure, or Sesko puts him under pressure to deliver. And if he comes out at the 55th minute or the 65th minute, Sesko can come and add another dimension to the game. But we had Joshua Zirkzee as well. So, but I think he probably had almost the least touches, 20 touches total, and all of that. So, and then ground doors 0%, aerial doors 3 of 8, 38%, which is not so good for a top player. I don't know what kind of doors anyway we're gonna use to rate those aerial doors. So he gets a 6.0. Not so good of performance from him, but I won't put it to him as the main cause. There are so many issues. Yeah, so which brings me to the sub, Harry Maguire. Well, 1 error leading to goal as well, I believe. He made an error that led to a goal against Man City, right? That pass that he didn't make. 28 minutes played, 24 of 27 passes, and all of that. So, you know, one of those things on the day. Kobe Menu, who surprisingly had a very good game. 17 of 17 accurate passes, 2 chances created as well. You know, Kobe Menu gets a 7.0 from me. Good performance as well. 25 touches for the few minutes that he played. He played only 28 minutes, and he was having 0.8 touches per minute. Right, so he was involved in everything that was going on. 2 recoveries. I mean, his pace seems to have improved. His mobility seems to have improved, and that's what Amorim is trying to drive in him. People will say, "Oh, why didn't Menu start? Why didn't Menu start?" But the truth is, Amorim needs that pace in the mid, and Ugarte gave that. 3 of 3 ground doors 1. Air doors 1 was 0 of 1, which was the only one he went into amongst all of that. Then Casemiro 6.0. Okay game, came in the 80th minute, could have done better or could have done more, being there, played only 10 minutes, 1 shot blocked and 1 shot off target, 17 of 9 accurate passes amongst all of that. So it's been a hard game to watch. Joshua Zirkzee closer to 6.5, 10 minutes played as well, 2 of 3 accurate passes, 4 touches in total as a striker. Obviously, touches in position box, he had 1. Recoveries, he had 1. You know, so Joshua Zirkzee gets a 6.5 from me. If you look at what was left in the bench, and allowance, Tom Heaton, Aiden Heaven, Diogo Leon, and Tyler Ferguson, defense and goalkeeper. So we don't have depth in the squad. That's what this shows. With injuries to Matheus Cunha, Mason Mount, Lisandro Martinez, and Diogo Dalot, we don't have depth in the squad. It's obvious we don't have depth in the squad. Man City had more injuries. John Stones, Mateo Kovacic, Ryan Nuri, Omar Mamouche, and Ryan Cherki. Not forgetting Marcus Bartinelli, who got a knock as well. So, where do we go from here? That's my question to you all, the fans. What do you guys think? Where do we go from here, because it's sad to watch. And overall team performance 6.0, manager performance, maybe we'll give him a 6.0 because everybody got an average of 6.0. What could have changed? What could Amorim have done? Could he have started Bruno as one of the 10s and moved Ahmad? This is what I thought. Could have moved Ahmad to the wing back so that we'll pepper them down the wings, but we didn't even have a chance. Then would have moved Bruno to a 10, obviously, so that I can still play that 8 and 10 and have control. And then probably brought in Menu and then allow Ugarte to do more of the defending. I thought Menu could have started this game. That's what it seems like, you know, in one of the 6s, and then Ahmad goes as wing back, and then Bruno goes as a right 10. He immediately moved to the right 10. It felt like we had more control second half, and we were trying to press and all that, but City were defending well, right? So it boils down to a lot of things. Maybe the manager could have made those changes and brought about those things, but it is what it is. Let's move on, prepare for the next game against Chelsea, another tough tie as well. Midweek we'll figure out what we're going to do and what we're going to talk about. I'm definitely going to bring a guest on to analyze, you know, Man United season so far and just talk deeply about a lot of things. But yeah, let's just try to move on. My whole summary of this game is we had a bad day at the office, and it was a really sad game to watch that we lost, but it's only 4 games in, and we need to actually tighten up and step up, especially against Chelsea, seeing as Chelsea will have a midweek game and they will play that game with their full squad and then probably come at us with the same squad that started in the weekend. So let's look at it from some positives from the game, and I'll try to get some positives from the game, and then we can deal with the negatives as well. But I know the press are going to come out for Amorim's head. They're going to call, let's just quickly touch X or Twitter, as the case may be, and you see who is trending. So yeah, we're already seeing a lot of things, like a whole lot of things. People are already going to be talking. Yeah. So moving on from this, I was going to Man United is trending pretty much. As I said, Man United is trending. If you're still back Amorim, show your support here by liking and reposting. If you're against Amorim, leave a reply. Amorim needs to put out a statement tomorrow. This is according to the Welsh Man United fans. Beat City and the shoe that have in place in the top half. I mean, and then the guy who has his hair, it says, I think the True United Strand, day 344 of not cutting my hair until Man United win 5 games in a row. I think it's gonna wait a really long time. Another one, Bryan Mbeumo's 1-on-1 goal that he blew over the top. So yeah, runs in behind is a thing for Man United, but we seem to not be taking our chances. But it is what it is. It is what it is. In the 27th minute, if Mbeumo had calmed down and taken his chances, he would have probably scored. And the difference between, when it was 1-0, the difference between Man City and Man United, they were clinical, Man United were not. Yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. We have to just move on. We have to move on. Trust me. I'm still backing Rúben Amorim. I'm definitely backing Rúben Amorim. Anyway, let's take the positives and also take negatives. Thank you so much for liking, sharing, and subscribing. If you haven't already, please do like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't have to miss anything as relates to Manchester United. I'll see you on the next one. Take care. Goodbye, and God bless.